Okay, when we left off yesterday, Freedom, the horse, had just died. Charlotte nodded and she squeezed her eyes. Oh, wait, no, we're over here. Charlotte forced a smile, and a feeling crept up into her throat and made it hard to swallow. She felt like she was on the verge of something. She tried to shake it off, and when she couldn't, she grabbed a rake and started working. She tried to concentrate on the right raking, but all she could see was her last glimpse of Freedom lying in the straw, breathing heavy and her eyes closed. Charlotte, said Hayward. She had forgotten about Hayward. He had wanted to tell her something, but before she could ask, Mr. Millshark's stern voice startled her. Charlotte, he yelled. Charlotte couldn't remember Mr. Millshark ever setting foot in the stables. Vern stood up immediately, and Hayward, who was even scared of Millshark's shadow, fled to the tack room to hide. Vern, just a few words with Charlotte, and I'll be on my way, said Mr. Millshark as he turned to Charlotte. It's been brought to my attention that some of the townspeople don't think it's quite ladylike for you to be racing the boys. Our reputation here is of raising strong, strapping young men, and we can't have folks calling our boys mollycoddles, now can we? You're getting close to being a young lady, and you need to start acting like one. From now on, you will have full duties in the kitchen with Mrs. Boyle. The stable is off limits to you. Vern looked up from his work. He never questioned Mr. Millshark, but he said, She's a help in the stables. She does the work of 3 of them boys, and she knows the horses as good as me. Is that so? Said Mr. Millshark. I heard that she rode a sick horse in the race yesterday, and the horse died this morning. A young man wouldn't have made such a foolish decision. She'll stay in the kitchen where she belongs. Mr. Millshark turned and left. Charlotte looked at Vern. He's got a cold heart, Miss Charlotte, and you know you had nothing to do with Freedom dying. I'm real sorry. Maybe he'll change his notion. Charlotte couldn't speak. She ran from the stable. She ran hard without stopping toward the tree line behind the pasture. She hated this place. Mr. Millshark would never, ever change his mind. Hayward called after her. Charlotte, wait! She slumped against a tree and bent over to catch her breath, and Hayward caught up to her. Charlotte, are you all right? I don't know, hey, stinking old Millshark. I can't think of nothing worse than not working with the horses. I can't wait to leave this place. Whoever got adopted is lucky not to have to look at Millshark's face ever again. I've been trying to tell you, Charlotte. Hayward looked down at the ground and drew a circle in the dirt with his boot. He didn't say anything, just kept looking at the dirt. Hayward, what's gotten into you? It ain't William who got adopted. Well, you see, it was me. It's a family from Nashua. Name is Clark. Their boy died, so they came here to get one to take his place, and that's me. I met him this morning, and the lady kept patting me on the head, and the man kept calling me son. I guess I don't mind about my ears. Charlotte stared at Hayward like he was talking crazy talk. Surely it couldn't be true. Why, Hayward was 10. They had plans. He couldn't leave now. She took a deep breath and felt her stomach do a flip-flop. A voice came out of her mouth, but it sounded strange and shaky. That's real nice, hey? I asked them if they wanted a girl too, but I guess they don't. Charlotte looked out over the pasture and nodded her head as if Hay were telling her some everyday news. Well, then, when are you leaving? She asked. Tomorrow morning. Charlotte nodded again. Tomorrow was Monday. They always helped Vern soap the bridles on Monday. Of course, they could still change their minds. Do you think they'll change their minds, Charlotte? Charlotte looked at his worried face. Getting adopted was what every boy lived for. Even Charlotte had those dreams of a home, dreams of a family. At least Hayward would be in a better place than the orphanage. She shook her head and reassured him. Nah, she reached out and ruffled his hair. You're just what they want, kid. Charlotte sat down under the maple. She felt like someone had sucked the wind from her. Her hands shook, and she sat on them to keep them still. Hayward sat down next to her. I'll write you, Charlotte, and then you'll be the only one here that gets letters. She looked at Hayward. His ears stuck out hard from under his cap, and Charlotte closed her eyes. She realized that she had been hoping for something for a long time. She'd been hoping that Hayward's ears would keep him at the orphanage forever. Charlotte? She opened her eyes and said calmly, I'm leaving too. Hayward looked at her as though she's lost her mind. You can't. You're not old enough. The last boy that ran off got caught and owed the overseer 2 more years past 16. Charlotte felt a determined anger welling up inside her. Hayward, don't try to talk sense into me. You're leaving tomorrow. I can't work with the horses, and you know that Mr. Millshark will think of some reason to keep me here forever. I ain't working in the kitchen for the rest of my days. You and me have got plans. Hayward jumped up. They'll find you, Charlotte. They always find the runaways. And Millshark, he's mean. He'll punish you. He can't punish me if he doesn't catch me, said Charlotte. I just know I ain't staying here to deal with William and Millshark and old Mrs. Boyle. Not without you or Freedom or the horses to keep me company. Now I got to think of a way. Charlotte knew that a young girl couldn't travel without a chaperone. She stood up and put her hands on her hips and paced around in a circle, staring at the ground. She kicked at a rock until it flew in the air and landed in the pasture. She would need money to leave. And when she got a job, where would she go? She would need a job. Who would hire her? Don't do it, Charlotte. Charlotte looked at him. She looked at his hair stuffed up under his cap, his overalls hanging crooked to one side. She already missed him, and he hadn't even gone yet. It wasn't fair. None of it was fair. Not even that she couldn't travel alone. A young boy like Hayward could travel without question. As she considered this, a tendril of an idea began to weave itself around in her mind, and a plan began to take shape. I got to go, Hay, she said, but I'm going to need your help.